So I was on an airplane ride, actually getting ready to get on an airplane to Tampa, Florida, and there was a free ebook download that was about flipped learning by Jonathan Bergman. And I read it and was just fascinated with the idea of being able to replicate myself so that I could be working with a small group of students while other students were watching a video of me teaching them something else. And of course it's lower level things that you do with flipped learning, but that's really what got me started, was the idea of being able to replicate myself and be able to have smaller groups or meet with individual students. So as soon as I got back, I actually emailed one of Zach Chase, who at the time was one of our tech people, and he connected me to Ann Atherton, who at the time was trying to figure out how to start to grow this in our district. And she and I got together at first and we came up with some good online learning that I could start by doing. And she kind of started training me at first to what she wanted out of it. And then I really just experimented in my classroom. Thinking back, I started with spelling, and so I would put spelling lessons online. And the kids would then, instead of me taking my time to do spelling lessons, the kids would go, and it was the spelling and vocabulary, some things that I didn't necessarily need to be there for, root words. And so I would record those and the kids would pause the video, and then they did the work on little whiteboards with partners. And so it started out really small, and then Anne came in and started interviewing the kids, and everybody was super excited because they were getting more time with me, and it was just it was a lot of experimentation at the beginning. I would have liked everybody to have just done blended learning like that, and it's been much slower than I wanted it to be. I thought it would be like, well, why wouldn't you do this, but there's a lot of issues that you have to work through, like how much screen time should real little kids be having. And it's been really, I think at this point, they're pretty much most teachers by the end of this year will have been trained in blended learning. Because they're realizing that the district's taking it seriously, and they know that our principal's really supportive of it. So it's taken a while. I wanted it to be like that. It's taken, I'd say 4 years to really get everybody trained. But in the process, there was 15 teachers. One summer we did a whole training on it, and online actually, and during the summer, and then they dabbled in it, I think, and now people are really starting to get more consistent with its use. And then students love it because blended learning can morph into personalized learning after you've been doing it for a little while, which is where I'm at. And so students can set goals and based on their data, and so they are able to choose how they want to learn, how they want to show that they've learned, and then they really enjoy that part of it, really being in charge of their learning and being independent learners. I would say my kids truly know how to learn now that I've had this experience under my belt for several years. The blended learning piece of our professional development, always when we go with a whole big group of teachers that we're training throughout the district, we always have station rotation, which is a big part of blended learning. We show them transformed learning, so we give them opportunities to choose what it is, which path they want to take. We give formative assessments for them to see how we make the groups that we then offer in those rotations. And it's always teacher-centered, what is it that you need in your PD? Just like we would say in our classrooms, it's always going to be student-centered. So we make sure we model and show them and are very explicit about how we're setting up our PD so that teachers can see exactly how we are making it a blended learning experience. And then in this school, we've definitely done some project-based learning with the teachers, which has been amazing, where teachers get to choose something that they really want to learn about. And we spend our late start times going and meeting with groups about what we wanted to learn about. And the first year was technology. Next year, we're opening it up to a lot. There's just so many things to open it up to, whatever path teachers want to take. And that is a huge part of the transformed instruction piece in blended learning. So I did something called kid created videos. And so the students all had something that they were learning about, and then they created videos for other students to learn from. And they love it. So they would create green screen videos explaining how to multiply decimals, or what the root words mean for dis or pre, or whatever root words, hydro. And they created videos that then teachers could direct their students to if they were learning about something or struggling with something, or even if it could be for kids who are struggling and kids who are advanced and they just need a push. Well, here's all these videos that fifth graders made, and now you can go and check out and learn this particular piece that the kids actually created. So that was something we did that I loved. I think that I wouldn't say like my scores have changed dramatically or anything. I think the thing with blended learning and engaged learning in general is that, which I know blended learning is, it's engaged. The students are engaged and empowered, and we've written to senators, and we've written to Donald Trump, honestly, about certain things that the kids believe this year. So we get out and are active in the community. And so one of the biggest impacts, I think, will be later on. It'll be when in the years to come, they're gonna feel empowered. They know how to learn. So I don't know that test scores necessarily, I always have good test scores, but I don't know that my test scores have necessarily changed dramatically, because it's more about the idea of what they're getting out of it to be self-learners and love learning, and really feeling like they can make a difference. So for other districts who want to start this, I would say start slowly, because I think you really need teacher buy-in. Also explaining that blended learning is a structure and a way of structuring your teaching, not necessarily a particular app or a particular it's big. It's a whole huge all-encompassing piece. So making sure that teachers understand that and districts understand that it's not singular. It's full of so many great things, so I think that's a big thing. And then to really start small with the teaching, the overall, I think, comes first, and then you can teach all the little pieces as it comes, and you have more and more teacher buy-in. Well, next week I am teaching at Empower Ed Camp, which is also grown exponentially in our district. And I think we're going to move more towards personalized learning. I think blended learning is the beginning, and once people start getting that, I think there's a lot, especially in the older grades, there's a lot of personalized learning that can happen when students start setting their own goals, like I talked about earlier. So I really think that it'll be more goal setting. I hope it's more goal setting and individualized, where students are figuring out, looking at data, figuring out what they need, figuring out where they want to go as well. So not always data, but where they want to go, setting those goals, and we'll find some way to demonstrate that they've met the goals, and then reflecting afterwards on whether or not they have met the goals. I think and hope that's where all of this is heading, not just in St. Vrain, but I think the whole nation will head in that direction because of technology, because we can do that now.